Magic. That's Viola, baby.
My name is Jack Maxwell. I once had a job as the booze explorer. Here we go, here we go. But then I got sucker punched by cancer. I then started a whole new journey.
Oh my God, is that good?
The culture of cannabis.
I have cancer. It doesn't have me.
Come on, up on the magic bus with me, and let's hit the high road.
Come along with me on this high road.
My journey has just begun. I head to LA. Al Harrington is a former NBA player turned cannabis entrepreneur. He was a first-round draft pick and played 16 years in the league and abroad. He now has a successful cannabis company called Viola, named after his sweet grandmother.
I've had 3 surgeries, so I'm in pain all the time. This cream that I've made, I started rubbing it on my knees. Not only did it take all the inflammation out of my knee, it took the pain away. And I've managed all my pain through cannabis.
Because you had the commissioner of the NBA. You convinced him on camera. He said, you know, now that you put it that way,
Right.
How can I be against it?
I just walked them through the typical day of an NBA player. Like, game's over? When that trainer walking around instead of him giving us all these anti-inflammatories and Indocin and all this garbage, imagine he was walking around giving us a gummy that had 100 milligrams of CBD. You shouldn't want me putting poison in my body, ever.
So your grandmother was so inspiring. You put her name on this. How does she feel about that?
She was like, all I know is I better not go to jail. She takes out this pill box. I was like, Grandma, why are you taking so much medication? What's that, vitamins? She's like, no, boy, I take stuff for high blood pressure, diabetes, glaucoma. I was like, Grandma, I was just reading the other day in the paper that cannabis helps with glaucomas. And she said, reefer? Boy, I ain't smoking no reefer. She said, reefer ain't gonna do nothing but make me hungry. So I was just like, all right, Grandma, whatever. And she started smoking it. So she's like smoking it and blowing it out her nose. Smoking it, blowing it out her nose. So I look at her and I'm like, Grandma, you sure you don't smoke weed? So I took her downstairs and I was like, Grandma, you okay? And she turned around and she was crying tears. And she was like, ow, I'm healed. She was like, you know, I haven't been able to see the words of our Bible in over 3 years. And I couldn't believe that it worked. So we started Viola extracts out the gate. So all we sold was concentrates.
Oh,
Smells
Yeah.
so good.
Right?
Those are diamonds. It's all THC.
All THC.
It's concentrated. So we could take that live resin, fill it in here, and just smoke it right out of this pack spot.
And just pull it in?
Yeah. Blow it up. Magic. That's Viola, baby. Let me tell you, that means a lot to me and definitely to my company because I feel like you trusted me to do that.
Oh, I didn't trust you. I trust Viola. I trust your grandmother.
What's most important to me is changing the perception of this plant. You can smoke until your face turns purple, red, whatever color it
I
turns.
think it is.
You will not die.
Watch out now. Oh! 3 for 4.
Oh, look at the knees. Oh, look at his knees. You almost tripped.
I got a few tricks.
I know how I lock you up.
How's that?
Make you dribble the ball.
Oh, okay. Right?
Get out, man. Get the hell out.
Take a ride with me on this high road.
Hey, I'm Jack Maxwell. Welcome back. Let's stay on the high road. I have a very special guest. That was episode number 2. And it was all about one man, his vision, his journey, and I'm really excited to have him. Let's just bring him on. Al Harrington, how are you, sir?
What's up, brother? How you doing, Jack?
I'm great. How you been since we shot that?
I'm good, man. How your jumper looking?
We'll get to the basketball in a second because I can't wait to get to that part. First of all, I know that from watching the episode with us, you know how we covered Viola with great respect, not only because it was a wonderful vision that you had based on personal experience and how these products helped you, but your grandmother, what a wonderful story. Can you just take us back again to the origins of that and the moment you decided to name it after her?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, her experiencing the true benefits of cannabis definitely inspired me to learn more. And, you know, the fact that, you know, someone of her age being open-minded enough to actually try cannabis and, you know, for it to work that fast. And for the first thing for her to do is go back and, you know, start reading her Bible. It just really inspired me. And, you know, I just felt like it might have been God talking to me about, you know, kind of what was next for me in my life. And, you know, for the next, you know, 6 months, 6 to 8 months, I did a lot of reading, you know, educating myself about, you know, all the magnificent, you know, things that the plant can do for people. And, you know, I decided to make an investment. And, you know, I became a caregiver in the beginning. So it's always been about medicinal benefits of cannabis. All of my patients either had HIV or cancer. And then, you know, 2 years shortly after that, you know, we applied and got our first license. And we decided to name the company after Viola because she was our inspiration for, you know, even, you know, taking a deeper dive into the plant. And, you know, I just wanted to, you know, glorify her, you know, through our brand.
That's wonderful. You're making me want to name something after my grandmother because I love her so much too. And what an influence she was on my life and how I grew up. And if it wasn't for her, I would have had a different story. So kudos to you. That's really great. How is business? It is a business after all. I know that this is a dream for you, and of course you want to honor your grandmother. But how's the business end of it?
Yeah, business is doing well. You know, we're in the 4 states. We're operating in all 4 states right now. You know, we are looking to expand into two new markets by fourth quarter end of this year. So that'll be 6 total. So, you know, so far so good. You know, our plan and my vision is definitely, you know, coming to fruition. You know, we want to be a national brand, and, you know, with purpose. And, you know, I'm not sure if I touched on purpose enough in our interview, but, you know, it's really about, you know, uplifting and empowering people of color, you know, in the cannabis industry, because, you know, it's about to, you know, now it's this new billion-dollar industry and there's just not enough representation in the space. And, you know, I want to use my company as a platform, you know, to create that opportunity, you know, for people.
That's wonderful because first of all, having it inspired, and then from there to reach out your tentacles and to put it into place. It's one thing to say, I want to honor my grandmother, I want to help people of color, but to actually do that, to put your hard-earned dollars behind it, is what I'm saying. Is that's brave because there's a lot of competition in the space, of course, and
Yep.
you're an NBA basketball player, and we're going to get to that in a second. But that doesn't always translate to business success. How sure were you getting into this? Did you have a lot of help? Did you have a lot of support? Or did you just know in your heart, I'm going to do this just like I made it to the NBA?
I always say, like, you know, what's great about athletes is, like, we don't really have a real concept of reality, right? And that's what makes us serious. That's what makes us special. You know, that's the reason why there's only 450 of us out of, you know, 300 million people that actually play basketball and that have hoop dreams. So, you know, I've always been a guy that when my mind is made up and set on something, then there's nothing that can stop me from actually getting it done. And, you know, I kind of just take the work ethic that I took in basketball because, you know, I didn't start playing basketball until a freshman in high school. And I ended up being, you know, going pro out of high school. And that had to do everything with my work ethic, how hard I worked, how dedicated I was. And even, you know, playing for 16 years in the NBA, all of that is what translated into my success. So that's what I brought to this industry, you know, and the way that I run my business. And yes, in the beginning, did not have a lot of support. You know, it was me and my co-founder, you know, trying to figure things out on the fly, you know, trying to figure out what the laws were really meaning when you think about, you know, operating in gray areas and different things like that until states, you know, draw a line and say, this is specifically how we want to, you know, run these businesses to run. You know, a lot of it was just us, you know, just figuring things out, you know, and the good thing about it is, like, I never gave up because I definitely had a lot of bumps in the road, but, you know, I just really felt like this is what I was supposed to do. And I really think this is a legacy play for me. You know, I think that, you know, obviously me playing the NBA, yeah, people will remember that. But I think what we can do with cannabis, I think that maybe I might get statues or I might get written about in a book. You know what I'm saying? I might be part of history with what, you know, with what we're trying to create.
Well, I hope that's the case because it's a wonderful cause and you're trying to help people. As you said to me, it's not just about business. It's not about making money. That'll come and go. But to honor your grandmother, to help people of color, and to help people in pain, that's a pretty good trifecta of good reasons to do this. You said the laws kind of were one of the stumbling blocks. And I would imagine they still would be because they change all the time, right?
Right. Yeah, constantly, you know, and that's why I always say, like, with our company, like, I've never set us in a direction where we're going so fast or going, our momentum's going one way so hard that we can't pivot, because you have to be somewhat nimble in this industry, because, things change and they change fast. And a lot of times they'll give you 30 days and maybe 60 days to make this new change. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just go from things of like something simple as like, things that, we may use as nutrients in for the flower that we actually grow. One day they may just say, okay, this now no longer is acceptable, is deemed harmful. You know what I'm saying? But we have 1,000 plants that has that, has one of those ingredients in there. How do you shift? You know what I'm saying? So, it's definitely a lot of challenges. I always tell people, like, everybody think it's just a cash cow, it's just money, money, money. But, it's a lot of hard work, in order to, get to that point where you're actually having that type of success financially. And, at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. We're pioneering the industry, so it's to be expected. But, like I said, we just have to continue to just stay on top of it, stay on our P's and Q's, as they say, and just make sure that we're always abreast of, the changes that are coming, and making sure that we can make those changes in a timely fashion.
It sounds like you're right on top of it. And, I know it's a challenge, but hopefully it'll be getting easier as the law settles in and we all decide what we want to do with it and what's acceptable, what's not, etc. But I think that the horse is out of the barn, so to speak. I think from here on out, it's certainly not going to go back. I hope not, anyway.
It can't. I mean, it was deemed essential through a pandemic. You know what I mean? So at this point, how can they say that cannabis is not here to stay? I think that, just seeing, the success of the industry during this trying time, speaks volumes. I think that a lot of these states now will look at, like, the tax revenue money that's being generated in these states where, it's medicinal and definitely where it's adult use, and see that, like, these states probably could use some of that income, right now, especially with what's going on in the world. So I think that, this may end up, accelerating the industry. And, we hope so, because, I think that where things will get better is when everything is kind of regulated the same way. Right now, every state is different. So the way I grow in this one state or California, I'm not growing the same way in Michigan, or the same way in Oregon. So, when we can finally get to the point where, the industry is regulated kind of through one body, I think that you'll be able to have more consistent brands and more consistent companies.
I hope it is. And I hope, for all the reasons you named earlier, that you're a big success, my friend. I'm rooting for you.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it.
And now on to basketball. Are you wearing a Knicks shirt? What the hell is that all about?
Yeah, man. Yeah, they
played in Indiana, were you not?
Nah, I played in Indiana, but I played in New York too. But I always said, like, out of all the teams that I played for, the Knicks was the the team that gave away the most gear. You know what I'm saying? So most teams, most teams count how many socks they give you and how many shirts they give you. But with the Knicks, it was just like whatever. So, I was able to keep contact, with the equipment manager. He's one of my guys, and every year he sends me a box of stuff. So this is some of the latest Knicks stuff from this season just passed.
And they should be lucky, because you played for Indiana, Golden State, New York, Denver, Orlando, China, everywhere, right? Did I miss any?
Yeah, I played. I moved around a little bit. It's funny. I could have been a pacer my whole life if I wanted to, but I definitely wanted to spread my wings and have other experiences within the NBA. And I think it definitely helped me, because I think when I think about my database of friends and resources, because I moved around, it actually was a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Compared to being in just one market and not knowing other people. So I definitely moved around a little bit. China was my biggest challenge. I was supposed to be there for 5 months. I ended up being there for like a month and a half. I realized all money wasn't good money. So I brought my behind back home.
And
I couldn't adjust.
Well, listen, you played for a lot of teams. You made the adjustment coming right out of high school for a young man to jump to the NBA. We all know how rare that is. I mean, you got Moses Malone, Darryl Dawkins, Kwame Brown, Kevin Garnett. I mean, there's just a few of you, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some. Just as a basketball fan off the top of my head, that must have been a tough adjustment.
It was. And let me give you some better names to go with. Go with like Kobe.
Oh, Kobe, of
You know what I
course.
mean? There was some hitters that came. There was some hitters that came out of high school, but for me, I think that when you think about how young you are at that age, I was 18, right? So you really don't know. Like you don't know. You just kind of just. It's not like I had lived one type of way and now this was a new. It was just like at this point, I was just maturing as a person. So I think that where I was really extremely lucky was that I went on a team with all veterans. So I think that those guys, really helped me lay a foundation of like what to do and what not to do, and how to survive 16 years. So I think that because I came in with that type of guidance around me, it allowed my transition to be a lot easier compared to me going to a team full of young guys and everybody running around wild, like almost like the blind leading the blind. So I definitely was blessed, even though I wanted to be a top 10 pick and all that type of stuff. I think that me landing in Indiana was literally God at work and putting me in the best situation for me long term. And being able to have those guys, like I said, they really helped me establish myself and allowed me to learn how to play in the league for 16 years.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got some great memories. One of them, this guy by the name of, I don't know, I'm sure anybody watching this might have heard of him. This Michael Jordan. That's what it was.
Oh,
he gave you a pair of sneaks after you impressed him, didn't he give you his kicks?
Yeah, he had 41 that game. I had 37. We lost. So, after the game, I was kind of talking trash to him a little bit. He wasn't the Jordan of back, Bulls Jordan. So I think we could talk a little trash to him, but he still ended up with 41. So it probably wasn't a good idea. But after the game, I was surprised. He just sent a pair of shoes over from the ball boy and just told me, keep working hard. He had a lot of fun playing against me. And those shoes are in my man cave right now today.
You said earlier that basketball players don't live in reality. What are you doing talking trash to Michael Jordan?
Exactly.
Don't you know how it turns out? Don't you?
You have no clue. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It was just that opportunity, from playing against somebody that was obviously my childhood, idol, in some respects. Even though I was a Knicks fan and that was the only time I rooted against him was in those games. But, at the end of the day, it was MJ. And, man, was he good. Even at 40 years old, he was a really good player.
Phenomenal. I know there's a lot of debate on who's great and who's the best and everything else. But when you went into cannabis, did it remind you of being an 18-year-old getting into the NBA because you're a beginner, you have a lot of life experience, but you're just not quite sure what it's going to be like?
That's funny. I've never had nobody ever say that to me, but at the end of the day, it definitely kind of matches up because I'm literally going into an industry where you just really don't know, right? I mean, the only difference in the NBA is, like I said, I was able to attach on to some veterans that could kind of show me the ropes, but in cannabis you didn't have that because the first thing I learned was the experts in the cannabis space were not the experts. For my first attorney, I paid him top dollar because he was supposed to know everything, and literally every piece of advice that he gave us, we did the opposite, and that was all the right things to do. You know what I mean? So it was definitely more challenging, especially because at the time it was still considered illegal, essentially, kind of, sort of. It's still federally illegal, but at that time, you just think about. For me, this is going into my 10th year in the industry. So just imagine 10 years ago, all this stuff.
Before the Farm Bill, it's a lot harder, right?
Yeah, definitely. You think about I really took a chance, and I just took a chance because I just felt like I was on the side of right. And to this day, it seems like I'm still on the side of right, and I think that that's the reason why I'm having a lot of the success that I'm having is because I think my heart is pure. I think that I know I'm doing this for the right reasons. I'm doing this for the people first. The monetary part of it is going to happen. I tell people all the time, if I got $100 million or $1 billion, my lifestyle wouldn't change. I'm still with it. I'm gonna still call the Knicks for free gear. You know what I'm saying? Not too much is gonna change. So for me, it's not even about that. It's really about how can I help others and uplift others and give others these life experiences that I've been able to have. And for that, makes me feel better than you putting any amount of money in my pocket.
You gave me a pretty good life experience. You invited me out on the court and we shot around. And I know the ball was a little flat and it just got done raining. And I said, what if I make 3 out of 5 free throws? Maybe we'll go to coffee and you tell me some great stories of the NBA, which you already covered because you've done that all over the interview. Right. And you said, yeah, not making 3 out of 5. And then I believe I ended up hitting 3 out of 4. And when the 5th one's coming up, you were talking trash, and you said you gave me some great insight into the NBA and the pressure of playing basketball. I said, wait a minute, it's my last shot. If I hit this, I'm going to make you a fool. Aren't you going to heckle me? You said, no. You know what's worse than heckling? Dead silence. I'm not going to say anything to you, and it's going to make you nervous. And I don't know how I did it. It did. It did. I'm like, oh, I want him to say something because I can live with that. And somehow I ended up hitting it, and I got lucky. But it was so fun talking to you and hanging out and being able to play basketball with you. You gave me a great life experience. So I'm rooting for you as much as anybody can root for somebody, with one exception. You never gave me any Viola swag. So I'm gonna have to give you my address so I can represent your grandma. All right?
Send me the address. I got you, brother. That's easy.
All right, man. Thanks. Thanks a lot. That was really great talking to you.
Thanks, Jack. Always good to see you, brother.
You too, my man. Thank you. The great Al Harrington, who I'm proud to say is such a nice guy. And I'll let you know if he sends me that swag. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what it's about. Really appreciate him sharing his story and his time. And thank you for being there, too. We do this every Friday night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, with a live Q&A, then the High Road, and then a post-show interview with one of the guests or someone related to the topic at hand. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time right here on the High Road.